Okay, so hi guys, and welcome to English lesson. Hi to Juanita, Jose, and Bivi.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Very good.
Sure.
Hey, hey guys, how are you guys? Doing well?
Good, teacher.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Good. And everyone here, welcome and welcome. So let's talk about what we have been learning. We've been learning to use the future tense. Tense just means like the time and grammar of when we speak. So we're speaking in the future. We know that we have a subject, and then we use will, and then we use the verb. So remember, there's no other words in the middle of that. It's the subject plus will plus action, verb. So to make a negative, we know that instead of will, we say won't or will not. And then we looked at measurements. So we know how to talk about percentage, liters, kilometers, kilograms, square meters, and also uh, temperature. So we looked at speaking about that. And then we looked at talking about unexplored places. So unexplored places are places which people do not go to quite often. And the reason they don't go there often is because these places, it's probably impossible to go there. So if you remember where we finished last lesson is we were uploading our whichever place that you were talking about to Facebook. So I might check that a little bit later, but just keep uploading to the Facebook group those posts that you were talking about. So I have a link there and you can read about these unexplored places, but you are going to write about it in your own words and tell us a little bit about it, talk about some measurements about it as well. And that will be interesting to read. And keep the English simple. That's always my advice. Whenever you're trying to, speak another language, you really have to keep it simple until you've mastered a high level. But for now, we want to keep it simple. We want people to understand us. And that's the best advice I can give you. So we are looking at 12C today, looking for a new earth. We're going to be reading an article together, so practicing our pronunciation and talking about what we think in the future. So let's get into that. Looking for a new earth. So we'll do this together. So we can see we've got some vocab here at the bottom of the ocean, on the moon, in the sky, near the sun, on Mars, in Antarctica. So they should be very easy to understand words. So do you think humans will live at the bottom of the ocean? You could say yes, definitely. Possibly, but I'm not sure. Or no, never. At the bottom of the ocean, there was a movie, I think it was called AI. It had that little boy in it. Yes, so the movie was called AI. Has anyone seen this movie? And it has the actor Haley
Yeah.
Joel Osment. Has
Yes.
anyone seen this? Jose, have you seen this movie, AI?
Yes.
Yeah, it was very big when it came out. I remember in 2001. And it was a futuristic movie. So that means that it was a movie that wanted to show us what would happen in the future, what they think. Now, do you remember when the little boy is traveling with this AI robot man and they come to see, I think it's New York, and it's all under the water? Because what's happened in the future, what they're making a story about, is that, just so much ocean came over the cities and, New York was now under the sea. I think it was New York. Underwater. I'll show you an image. It was quite an amazing movie. Yes. You remember? And then he meets like a fairy prince.
Yes. Yes. City under the sea.
The city under the sea, yes. So somebody, you know, that's an idea. What somebody thinks can happen in the future. That maybe, you know, there's going to be more water that's coming onto land. And you know, the city is going to be under the sea. Do you think that may happen? I don't know if I think that this is going to happen. I'm not sure. For me, I don't think.
Atlantida.
Sorry?
Atlantida City.
Sorry?
Atlantida City. Is the city under
Atlantic,
the sea.
Atlantic City?
Is the old city in the Greek mythology. Atlantic City.
Atlantic? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Atlantic. Yeah.
The city, the lost city of Atlantis? Ancient underwater city. But this is not real, is it? It's just a movie or an idea. Museum. I don't know. That's interesting. Underwater cities. I don't know about any underwater cities. But well, maybe. So it could happen.
It's mythology.
Italy. Okay, so they have found Atlantis. In Turkey, they can see that that's happened. In Argentina. In Russia. Yeah. Okay, so that's one idea. Do you think that maybe on the moon, will we go to live on the moon? Do you think that's possible? People living on the moon? I'm not sure. I don't know if we have the correct conditions. Because I mean, look, we're still wearing a whole, you know, suit, and you know, people are saying, well, how come we haven't traveled back in so many years? If it was easy. So maybe never, I think, on the moon. In the sky, I think that's possible in the sky. Near the sun, on Mars. Near the sun, no.
Very
In
hot.
Antarctica. Antarctica could be possible. Because in the future, you know, it's losing a lot of, it's becoming warm. So could be possible. Imagine that becoming a city. Yeah. We never know the future. Okay, so let's read an article and practice our English. So we have an article on the next page, and as we read, we have to match A, B, C, D, E. Which paragraph do you think that these words could be the title for? Okay, so let's have a read together to practice our pronunciation. So this is the image. It looks like the world into 3 sections. Hey, Andres, too. What's going on? Okay, looking for a new Earth. That's the title. It looks like we have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. I think 3 is this one split up, 4 and 5. Okay, so looking for a new Earth. For thousands of years, humans explored the Earth. Now, astronomers are exploring space, looking for new planets or a new Earth for humans to live on in the future. But what will a new Earth look like? First of all, astronomers look for a star. That's because our own Earth orbits a sun. Orbits a star, the sun. When astronomers have found a star, they look for planets around it. In recent years, astronomers have found thousands of new planets orbiting suns. Once they find a new planet, it's also important to measure the distance between the planet and the sun. That's because most planets, unlike our Earth, are either too near to the star or too far away. When they find a planet in a good position, astronomers look for 3 things: water, air, and rock. Water is important because if humans go there, they will need to drink water and to grow plants. If you can grow plants, then the plants can produce air for humans to breathe. Finally, astronomers also look for rocks because water is often under the rocks. In recent years, astronomers have found a few planets that are very similar to Earth. For example, Gillespie 581g is a planet at a safe distance from the nearest star. Astronomers also think it has water and rock. The average temperature is between -31 degrees and -12 degrees, which is cold, but not colder than Antarctica or the Arctic Circle. However, there are some differences. Gillespie 581g is bigger than the Earth. And a year on, Gillespie 581g is only 37 Earth days instead of 365. And the biggest problem is the distance. Gillespie 581G is 18 trillion kilometers from the Earth. Okay, let's go back. Now, as I said, we have A, B, C, D, E. You have to find which paragraph will give you information. As a result, they are too hot and gassy or too cold and icy for human life. So we can do that one together. I think that could be paragraph 2. This one here, because that gives us information. It says, first of all, astronomers look for a star. It talks about it's that last sentence. That's because most planets are either too near to the star or too far away. So it's A really comes from this sentence here. They just put it in other words. Okay, number B, with current space technology, humans will take 766,000 years to travel there. I guess it's in that last paragraph. Because they said the biggest problem is the distance. So I reckon that sentence, with current space technology, humans would take 766,000 years to travel there. Really, we get that information from this paragraph, the last one, 5. And how do you find a new Earth? It looks like that could be in the introduction. For thousands of years, humans explored the Earth. To live there, they need to, but what will a new Earth look like? So, and how do you find a new Earth? See, I reckon it comes from this information here. And so even if we can't see water on a planet, it's sometimes there. It looks like that could be this paragraph 3, because it's talking about water. It's important. So even if we can't see water, it's sometimes there. Because if you look for rocks, they also look at rocks because water is often under the rocks. So even if you can't see it, the water is under the rocks. So number D, I reckon it comes from this information here, this sentence. And the last one, humans can live in those temperatures. It must be here, the average temperature, which is cold, but not colder than Antarctica. So we can live there. Because if we can go to Antarctica and Arctic and survive, then we can live in those temperatures, -31 and -12. Okay, so that's the answers. So it was 2A, 5B, 1C, 3D, 4E. Okay, let's find these words in the article. So astronomer, what does astronomer mean? Astronomer, astronomer is A, B, C, D, E, F. See, someone who studies the planets and stars in space. Yes, it's a job title. That's what an astronomer is. So remember, any noun that has an ER is usually a job, like teacher, astronomer, lawyer. So an astronomer is someone who studies the planets and stars in space. What does planet mean? A? Yeah, a large round object in space. A star. What's a star? B, a large round object of burning gas in space. Yeah. What is it's an ing, so it's an action verb, orbiting. What does this action mean, to orbit, orbiting? Going around a planet or star. D. Yeah, so if you orbit something, you go around it. Rock, it's a noun. What is a rock? The solid part on the earth or a planet. Yep, rock. And air, what is air? The gas humans breathe. Okay, so that's some interesting vocab there to learn those words. Let's do these questions. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to read the article again and answer these questions. So number 5, we'll come back in about 5 minutes. And if you have finished, you can also do number 6. And we'll come back and talk about them. Okay, so let's look at the answers. We've read the, hi Fernando. So we read the article on page 147 again. When astronomers, remember people who study the planets and the space, when they look for a new planet, somewhere similar to Earth, where humans can live, what do they look for? For humans to live, yeah? But what? What do they look for? Okay, so near to the sun, yeah. So near to the sun, yeah. They look for planets around it. Measure the distance. So they look near to the sun. They see if it has planets around it. They also, once they find a new planet, it's important to measure the distance. So they also measure the distance between the planet and the sun. Between planet and sun. So I don't think they look for it to be near, but they just measure the distance. So I might start my sentence with, so what do they look for? So imagine they found a planet. Yes, what do they, yeah. So imagine they found a planet. Yeah, water and rock. Yeah. And air. Exactly. Water, rock, and air. So what do they look for in space? If it has planets around it, and they measure the distance. But when they find it, I think that's from question 2. What do they look for? Water, air, and rock. How is Giselle 581G similar to Earth? It is a safe distance from the nearest star, and it has water and rock. That's what the article tells us. I got that from paragraph 4. It says that Giselle 581 is a planet at a safe distance, and it has water and rock. And how is Giselle 581G different to Earth? That's in the last paragraph. It is bigger. Yes. It is bigger. And yep, and the days are and it has only 37 days. Imagine 1 year, 37 days, that's 1 year. And also, yeah, I think that's how it's different. It is bigger and it has only 37 days instead of 365 days. Okay, so I got those answers from reading the article. Hey, Fernando. Okay, which of these sentences, statement just means a sentence. It's something that I say, it's a statement. So which of these do you think gives the opinion of the writer? Not what we think, but what the writer of the article, what does he think or she? Number 1, the writer thinks we will find similar planets in the future and maybe we will live on them. Part B, the writer thinks we will find similar planets in the future, but we definitely won't live on them. Or C, the writer thinks that we will find similar planets in the future. Okay, I think it's B. I think that the writer thinks we will find similar planets, but we might not live on them. You know, they're too far. The distance is too far from the sun. Or maybe A. I might change that to A. Because he did talk about Giselle, Glazy 581. He did say it has water, air, it is bigger. It is at a safe distance. It has water and rock. Maybe. I think he's trying to show us in the article that maybe we will live on them. He wasn't really sure to say we will find similar planets. I think maybe. Okay, let's write sentences now giving your opinion. So you can start with, in my opinion, I think, or you can make it a negative, I don't think. Do you think it's important to find a new Earth? Can you imagine life on another planet? Or do you think it's impossible? What do you think? A good idea? Yeah, a good idea. Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, yes. Yeah. In this moment, not so important. Yes. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So in the future, who knows when, but in the future, it could be possible we might need it because what's happening to Earth? We're getting global warming, places that are meant to be cold are becoming hot. We're getting hurricanes, volcanoes, floods, a lot of earthly natural disasters. So yeah, maybe in the future. Can you imagine life on another planet? There's another movie, there's so many movies they did, and if only I can remember it. And they have to sleep in a little, oh, I forgot the name of the movie. I wish I remember the name. Does anyone know any movies about the future? There's a very good one. If I see, and he wants to escape, he starts to realize that it's actually not a good idea what the humans are doing. I wish I could remember the name. This is a, yeah, not that one. I don't know. It was a very good movie. Okay, but anyways, yeah, could you imagine living on another planet? What would it look like? It'd be very, you know, wouldn't be much nature there, I think. It would be very, it looks very cold, not like a warm place. It just looks very modern and you know, we might see a lot of robotic things on that planet as well. Yeah, so you can see they've given us an idea in so many movies. Okay, so let's talk about this word how. When we make questions, we can make questions with how. So if you look at the title of the article, well, it was looking for a new earth, but we can ask a question. How do you find a new earth? So how is used as a question. And how do you find? You can ask questions like how far? How far do you live from the city? How long do you take to get ready? How many hours did you sleep last night? How much did that cost you? That laptop, that new phone? How old is your father? So how is a very important word because we can ask questions with how. The question could be about age, how old, about time, like how long did you take to get ready? How long was your trip? How long is your holiday? Could be about distance, how far. So period of time, how long. Distance, how far. The way to do something, you know, how many people have looked up how-to videos on YouTube? How to speak better English, how to download something, how to make a cake, how to, maybe something like that, how to make a cake, whatever. So lots of how to, that's asking the way to do something, how to fix the radiator in the car, how to fix something. It could be asking about a number. So for example, how many hours did you get sleep last night? How many countries did you visit? Where the answer is going to be a number. How many siblings, sisters and brothers do you have? Or it could be about the price or quantity. So how much did your iPhone cost you? How much did the ticket cost you? How much did whatever? Yeah, so all questions using how. Okay, so let's do this part together as a speaking. We're going to talk about a place that you would like to visit. Now, instead of doing this one, let's pretend that it was our writing. So instead of number 10, talk about the place you'd like to visit. We're just going to use what we did on Facebook last lesson about those unexplored places. So we're just going to pretend that you want to visit those places. So I hope you've all uploaded them. If not, I'll give you 5 more minutes to upload it. So I only see one, Clayton has uploaded his. Okay, so then that's how we can speak. So I'll give you a moment to finish your uploads about your unexplored place. Does someone not have a place? Because I gave everybody one place. Who doesn't have a place? Sebastian? Does everybody have a place to write about? How fast is your car? Exactly. How fast does your car go? Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes to write about your unexplored places. If you don't have one, there's a link. You can click on the link and just pick one. So you can see many places. Number 2, number 3 in Brazil. So just upload an image as well if you haven't. So Clayton, just upload an image and we'll come and check that and we'll use that as our speaking because I'm going to get you guys to tell us about the place. Okay, so we'll come back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're looking at some places. As I said, don't forget to add an image. Let's have a look. All comments. I'll start with Santiago. Cenotes were the Mayan civilization's only source of water in the jungle and are considered sacred by the Mayan people. So is that the name of the place? So this one? So try and write the full name if you can in your yeah. So this is the place, is that right? Is this the place? The cenotes. Okay. Were the cenotes, I might just start your sentence by saying the cenotes is a place where the Mayan civilization used to get their source of water in the jungle. Is a place in the jungle. So I might change it again. Remember, to write simple is a lot more easier to read. So the cenotes is a place in the jungle where the Mayan civilization used to get their source of water. This place was considered sacred by them. So we don't need to repeat the people. We can just say by them. There are, I think, I don't know if people are still living there. There were 7,000 cenotes in Yucatan, and only 142 are available to visit. Okay, so that's still true till today. There are 7,000 of these places in, is this in Mexico? Okay, so is a place in the Yucatan jungle. So again, do you see what I keep doing? I take as much detail of where the place is first in the beginning of my sentence, so it's easier for people to put an idea of location first and then detail. So I said the cenotes is a place in the Yucatan jungle where the Mayan civilization used to get their source of water, their only source of water. This place was considered sacred by them. There are 7,000 of these places, and only 142 are available to visit, which means that 98% of the Yucatan cenotes are still unexplored. Beautiful, 98%. Wow, that's amazing. The most impressive thing about the cenotes is that you can find different tones of blue in the water, in the waters, as well as a variety of depth. That's beautiful. Add an image so we can see. So amazing places, different shades of blue. And yeah, I can see that different colors of blue and different depths. So how much deep we can go down is different. Maybe here it's a little bit shallow, somewhere else it's deep. And 98% of these places is still unexplored. So that's beautiful. This was by the Mayan civilization. Okay, good. So just add an image. Next one, we have Sebastian. Okay, so the North Sentinel Island is one of the Andaman Islands, an Indian archipelago in the Bay of Bengal, which also includes South Sentinel Island. It is home to these people, an indigenous people in voluntary isolation. That means that these people choose to live in isolation. That's what they choose, voluntary isolation, who have defended, often by force, their protected isolation from the outside world. The island is about 8 kilometers or 5 miles. You don't need to put the 5 miles. So it's about 8 kilometers or 5 miles long and 7 kilometers or 4.3 miles wide. And its area is approximately 60 square kilometers or 23 square miles. Perfect. So I'll take off the miles because we are in Australia. We speak in kilometers, so that's fine. You don't need to. Okay, good. So amazing as well. So these people choose to live there and they have kept it safe from the outside world. And this image, so again, add an image so I don't have to keep showing images here. So that's the place, yes, with these ancient, they keep it sacred, this place, from the outside world. They choose to live there away from the world. Can you imagine? Away from, phones and television and yeah. So it looks like you can go to visit this place, but it's good these people keep it very, very closed from too much influences from the outside world. Okay, Shirley, we have the Sakha Republic in Russia. This was an interesting place. So this is the place that Shirley is speaking about. Wow. Wow, wow, in the mountains. So this place is the 18th largest territory globally, with the majority of its land situated above the Arctic Circle, creating an extremely harsh and desolate environment. So you can't just go there. It's very harsh, hard. That means hard, and, it's desolate. There's not much water, food and trees. It's very like a desert. It's desolate. If its inhabitants were evenly spread out, there would be a square mile of space between each individual. Wow. So there's only a small people they're keeping together in a very small space. But what Shirley is saying, that if they were to spread out, there would be a big space between each of the people. The region experiences frigid winters with an average temperature around minus 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, good. Thank you. Juanita. So the cenote is a natural pit or sinkhole resulting from the collapse of the limestone bedrock that exposes under groundwater. The term originated on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, where cenotes were commonly used for water supplies by the ancient Maya and occasionally for sacrificial offerings. So they used to kill maybe animals or people to give to their gods. The peninsula alone has an estimated 10,000 of these places. Okay, beautiful. Clayton, the Kamchalka Peninsula. So it looks like this place. That's beautiful. I'll see if I could add the image for you maybe. Is a huge peninsula about 1,200 kilometers long, located in the eastern region of Russia. It is east of the sea of this place and the Gulf, in the province called this name. The highest point is the mountain. The region's economy is based on agriculture and livestock. So there's some animals there. The population of the peninsula, I might just make that a new sentence. The population of the peninsula is approximately 8,000. Okay. Gustavo. The mountains most widely claimed to be the highest unclimbed mountain in the world in terms of elevation is Gangka. I don't know how to say that. This place here. Amazing. It is in Bhutan, on the near to the border with China. Good. So we can understand where this place is. In Bhutan, the climbing of mountains higher than 6,000 meters has been prohibited. That means not allowed. They're not allowed to climb it since 1994. The prohibition is based on local customs. I might just make that a bit simple English. So this ban is another word for prohibition, is based on local customs that consider this and similar peaks, that's the highest point on the mountain, to be sacred homes of protective deities, that's like gods and spirits, and the lack of high altitude rescue resources. So if people climb up to this mountain, I mean, if they need help, medical assistance, you can't just quickly call, help from any place closer than India. The ban was further expanded in 2003 when mountaineering of any kind was disallowed entirely. This place will likely remain unclimbed so long as the government of Bhutan prohibits it. Exactly. Okay, I think that's, if you're still uploading, I'm just refreshing. Jose. The island. So don't forget, remember we learned when to use the in the past lesson. So the island da Queimada Grande,
Queimada Grande.
Queimada Grande
In Brazil.
is located. I'm not sure what this word is let. I might just say is located. So the island.
Island very no big, it's small.
Yeah. Okay. So it's located 33 kilometers from the Brazilian coast. So you don't need a comma if you're going to say and. I might connect it by saying and is also known as Snake Island, since in its 430,000 square meters, more than 30 different species have been recorded of snakes. Wow, I think I heard about this, a place in Brazil with the largest number of snakes.
Yes, it's the movie horror.
Yeah, the island is located 33 kilometers from the Brazilian coast and is also known as Snake Island, since more than 30 different species have been found. I'll just put found just as an easier English term. There is a really important one. Is that a snake? The most important species of snake the Bothrops Peninsula is possibly the most dangerous in the world. The Bothrops Peninsula is possibly the most dangerous snake in the world. The island has been protected since 1985 as a relevant area. That means as an important area, we don't need to capitalize those words, of ecological interest, because its main tenet is to protect these species, because its main aim, just an easier word, is to protect these species. So that's good. Since 1985, they have tried to make this place to keep it protected, to protect these snakes. Because you know what would happen if humans go there? What's the first thing they'll do? Is kill those snakes. Okay, good. Thank you. Add photos. I can't see any photos, everyone. Make sure you add, I think you can edit your post and add a photo because we need to see. So Jose, if you can add 2 images, that would be good, of the place and of those snakes.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. I'll just refresh again to check the last a few images. If you, like I said, reread everyone else's, because it gives you a chance to look at the English. Bivy, Jonathan and Bivy. Okay, so Bivy says, Bivy says, the Namib Desert. So again, we need an image, guys, attach it to your post. So this is the place that Bivy is talking about. Is a major desert in Africa that stretches, that means like how long it is, along the coast of Namibia, between the Orange River, which marks the border with the Republic of South Africa to the south, and the Kenene River between Namibia and Angola to the north. Okay, so it's a desert next to South Africa and next to Namibia, Angola. The Namibian's northmost part extends 450 kilometers. So I'll take off the miles because we're writing in Australian, from the border. The world's oldest, so this is, wow, this is the world's oldest desert. It's easy to imagine that the world has always been just as we found it. Beautiful. It's just in Africa that stretches along the coast of Namibia. Might just make this a bit easy English. Okay, good. And that should be Jonathan, also on the Namib Desert. So the Namib Desert, Portuguese, is that how you say it in Portuguese? Is that right? In Portuguese, Namib is a cool coastal desert extending for 1,200 miles, or we could use, in Australia, remember we use kilometers, not miles, along the Atlantic coast of Africa from Namibia, formerly this, in Agonia southward, in the west of South Africa. It reaches inland 80 to 100 miles. So again, I'll put the Australian to the foot of this. The southern part merges, that means comes together with the Kalahari. Its name is derived from the language, meaning, just easy language, meaning an area where there is nothing. Beautiful. So that's what the name of the desert comes from, an area where there is nothing. The desert in southwestern Africa is considered, again, this desert. So to stop repeating always the name of something, you can say this is considered the oldest desert on Earth. It also gives rise to some of the planets. Okay, it's the oldest desert. It gives rise to some of the planet's tallest dunes, those high, like, desert mountains. It's arid and it's almost totally inhabited. Except for a small number of scattered towns, a few towns around the area. It is important because of the trade routes. So that's where they make trade. They can like give another country something in exchange for something else. So they use this desert to make a trade between different countries. It's fisheries, there's fishing and utilization of recreational purposes. Beautiful. So good. That's all we had time for, to look at all these places They were called unexplored places of the world, places that we really haven't visited so much. We obviously have visited them, but not so much. Either it's dangerous to go there, or we just want to keep it protected. We don't want to ruin it. Okay, good. So thank you for all those writings. Don't forget to add an image. When we come back, we're going to be looking at Earth Day. And I'll just put you into groups because we're going to be doing a presentation. So you're going to be coming up as a group and doing a presentation. So we're going to be learning how to make a presentation. So let me put you into groups first. Okay, so we're looking at Earth Day. So we've got another little article to read on Earth Day is, so when you have something that says something day, that means like Christmas Day, you know, Easter Day. It's an occasion. It's a time when people are celebrating or maybe trying to bring people to understand something. So Earth Day is a day. So you can see it says Friends at Earth Day in Washington, D.C. So April the 22nd, we can read together. April the 22nd is Earth Day. For one day every year, people in different countries help the earth. For example, they clean parks, pick up rubbish, or plant trees. The first Earth Day was on April the 22nd, 1970, in the USA. Over 20 million people went to an Earth Day in their city. There were politicians, teachers, artists, and musicians. As one person said, we had fun, but we also wanted to help the earth and the environment. Good. So this Earth Day, as it told us, is in April the 22nd. So you get to see it next year. It's all around the world. It's important to thinking about the earth and keeping it safe, clean, and everything. So that's Earth Day. So you can see lots of advertisements. Okay, what do people do on Earth Day? So what do people do on Earth Day? What did they do? They clean up parks, pick up rubbish, or plant trees. Yeah, so we can write that as our answer. So we could say on Earth Day. So make sure you capitalize Earth. On Earth Day, because it's an occasion. It's like saying on Christmas Day, on my, whatever, on people clean parks, pick up rubbish. I'm just reading it from, or plant trees. I just got that information from the article. When and where was the first Earth Day? When and where was the first one? So the first one was April 22nd, 1970 in USA. If I wanted to make it a full sentence, the first Earth Day was, the first Earth Day was, because using our past, was on April the 22nd, 1970 in the USA. Why did people go to it? Why did people go to it? Why did people go to it? They went, politician teachers, they wanted to help, so they wanted to help the earth and the environment. Yeah, so we can understand that's what the Earth Day is, and we know how to answer these questions. Okay, we're going to listen to a presentation by a university student. We'll do that after the break. So we're going to listen to a presentation about this day, Earth Day. We're going to look at using words that help us when we give a presentation. So when we ourselves want to tell people about an important day, we need to know how to speak. We don't want to just speak, but just there's ways to speak that gets people attention, that gets people interested. You know, you present yourself professionally, your English is easy to understand, you know how to welcome everyone, you know how to introduce what your day is. And then you guys in your groups are going to be picking an important day for yourselves and presenting it to the class. So we'll do that all after the break. Let's have a break for now, and then we'll come back and do this. So I'll see you guys after. Okay, so let's continue. So if you remember, I was saying that we're going to listen to a presentation. That means when people come and they speak to someone else, it's a presentation. It's by a university student. And we're going to do questions 2. So listen and choose the correct answer. Okay, so let's do the listening exercise. So ready?
Track 114, Unit 12D. It has become famous all over the world. Nowadays, more than 175 countries have an Earth Day. Lots of people do different things. Last year, people in China planted 600,000 new trees. In New Orleans, in the USA, they put 300,000 energy-efficient bulbs into houses. And finally, in my country, lots of people picked up rubbish in the cities and in the countryside. In conclusion, I really think Earth Day is important. Next year, I hope you will do something on Earth Day. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so let's listen again. Okay, sorry, let me see why you're not hearing. There was an option. Okay, so let's hear it again. Ready?
Track 114, Unit 12D. Good morning, and thank you for coming. My name's Davi, and I'm from Brazil. Today, I'd like to talk about an important day in my year called Earth Day. First of all, Earth Day began on April 22nd in 1970. Over 20 million people went to Earth Day in different cities across the USA. There were politicians, teachers, artists, and musicians. Since that day in 1970, Earth Day has become famous all over the world. Nowadays, more than 175 countries have an Earth Day. Lots of people do different things. Last year, people in China planted 600,000 new trees. In New Orleans, in the USA, they put 300,000 energy-efficient bulbs into houses. And finally, in my country, lots of people picked up rubbish in the cities and in the countryside. In conclusion, I really think Earth Day is important. Next year, I hope you will do something on Earth Day. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so the first one is Davy, the man who's doing the presentation. He is from Brazil. He talks about Earth Day actually both. He spoke about what happened when it first began and what they do now. So it's both A and B. People in China planted 600,000 trees. In Brazil, people picked up rubbish in the cities and countrysides. Yeah, both. Davy thinks Earth Day is important. Yes, perfect. So did you see that when he was doing his presentation, he introduced himself and he also told you what he's going to talk about, and he also used easy to understand English. So it didn't sound like you were reading something off the internet. He sounded like he prepared it very well. He spoke about the history of the day, and he gave a lot of good details, very relevant, important details, because you could speak for a long time about this day. But he made a presentation which was just 5 minutes. So he picked very important things to say about it. He probably had a slideshow, so he was showing some images, and he introduced very well. So we need to do that. But before we do that in our group, let's look at the expressions that he used and talk about how we can use some expressions as well. So we're going to listen one more time to Davy and his presentation, and you're going to put a number next to which statement or which sentence, expression he said first, which he said second, third, fourth, fifth, up to number 8. Okay, so just put them in order of which sentence did he say first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8th. Okay, so last time we listened to it, let's do that.
Track 114, Unit 12D.
Good morning, and thank you for coming. My name's Davi, and I'm from Brazil. Today, I'd like to talk about an important day in my year called Earth Day. First of all, Earth Day began on April 22nd in 1970. Over 20 million people went to Earth Day in different cities across the USA. There were politicians, teachers, artists, and musicians. Since that day in 1970, Earth Day has become famous all over the world. Nowadays, more than 175 countries have an Earth Day. Lots of people do different things. Last year, people in China planted 600,000 new trees. In New Orleans, in the USA, they put 300,000 energy-efficient bulbs into houses. And finally, in my country, lots of people picked up rubbish in the cities and in the countryside. In conclusion, I really think Earth Day is important. Next year, I hope you will do something on Earth Day. Thank you very much for listening.
No worries. Okay, so the first thing that he said was good morning. So that's number one. So he said, good morning, thank you for coming. Good morning, thanks for being here. Whatever. Good morning, welcome to my presentation. The second thing he did was introduce his name. He said, my name is Davy and I'm from Brazil. So that's a nice way to, don't just quickly start your presentation, but tell the people who you are, where you're from. Maybe, you're from a business organization, or you're from a charity, or, you're from somewhere. Then he said, today, I'd like to talk about an important day. So he gave a little introduction, not just straight away he gave facts and details about the day. He said, this is what I'm going to speak about today. So it's like saying a sentence like that. I'm going to let you know about an important day. So you could see he's slowly building up the conversation to talk about Earth Day, not just quickly speak about it, but he's slowly introducing it. Number 4, he then says, first of all, he went back to history. So it's always nice to give a little bit of history about anything that you're talking about. Maybe you're speaking about the war in a place, or you're speaking about, an ancient building, or you're speaking about someone or something. It's always nice, give a little history first. So he said, first of all, and then he continued. And then he said, nowadays. So he said, nowadays, this is what's happening now with this important day. And finally, he said, and finally, in conclusion, so he wanted to give you the final idea of what he's speaking about. And then he thanked his audience. So he said, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that presentation. And if you wanted, he could have said, does anyone have any questions? So that's the numbers of what he said. So let's look at these sentences from a presentation. Notice how the speaker, the person speaking, pauses when there's a comma. That's very important, or else you're just going to sound like, first of all, you're going to run out of breath. And it's not going to be nice to hear someone speak and they're just like speaking. You need to have a comma, which allows you to take a breath in and then start the next part of the sentence. That's very important. It's easy for someone to hear you speak that way. And yeah. So let's listen to these audios and just listen when there's a comma, how there's a bit of break before they say the next word. So very important. Okay, let's listen.
Track 115, Unit 12D.
1. Today, I'd like to talk about my company. 2. First of all, we started the company in 1999. 3. In conclusion, I think it's very important.
Let's listen again. So take notice of the comma. Actually, we won't listen. We'll say it together. So the first one is, today, I'd like to talk about my company. First of all, we started the company in 1999. In conclusion, I think it's very important. So you could see I keep reading up until I see the full stop. So not like this. Today, I'd like to talk about my company. That's not a good way to read. There's too many commas where there shouldn't be. There's too many stops in my word. So I need to say today and then stop. And then continue saying this whole sentence together without a space. I'd like to talk about my company. Not fast, but nice and together. I'd like to talk about my company. Sounds good, but what is bad? I'd like to talk about my company. That's not a good way to speak. Same as the second one. First of all, not first of all. It's first of all. So I need to keep those words together until I get to a comma. First of all, we started the company in 1999. In conclusion, so not in conclusion, it's in conclusion. I need to say it together. I think it's very important. Not, I think it's very important. I can't stop like that. I have to say all the words together. I think it's very important. So that's what allows you. No worries, Jose. Do you mean at 8 a.m.? You have to go to work at 8 a.m. maybe? If you do need to go, yes, so no worries. Have a good night. Hopefully see you in class. Your group, I'll fix it up. So you were with Jose. Okay, so I'll fix up your group. So maybe Jonathan, Adriano, Clayton, and Silvio. Sorry, Adriano. Yes, Adriano. Yes, there's no N. You're right, Adriano. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to have a different group like this. So Jonathan, Adriano, Clayton, and Silvio. Okay, so that's the new group. So Clayton is the only person online in that group. Okay, so before we do our presentations, I'll just give you some words. You can say like, hi everyone, welcome everyone. Yeah, really there's not much different ways to say that. My name is, so remember if you have a few people in your group, I'm Laila and this is Silvio and this is Santiago. So that's how you introduce other people. So I am Laila and this is Silvio and this is Santiago. And we are going to be talking about whatever the day is. You could say, you know, firstly, first of all, stuff like that. Today, Another word is like saying these days, currently, what we do now is this, this, this. So now, the reason this day is important, because in conclusion, another way to say that is, as a final thought, or we should all remember, or we should all keep this day very important. And at the end, make sure you say thank you. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for your attention. That's another way to say that. And thank you very much for your attention. So we need to thank the people for listening, for being here. And remember, you could also say, does anyone have any questions? Or you could say, would anyone like to ask questions? So you can make sure that you're, asking some questions. So that's just a few expressions, a few words that we can use to make a good presentation. Now, most importantly, keep the English simple. Do not read it like I'm reading something online. It's boring. It's hard to understand. It's just not interesting. So you need to simplify it, make the English simple and clear, and, speak like it's speaking. A presentation is not like writing. A presentation is speaking. So it should be, hey guys, welcome today. I hope you're all good. It's casual. It's a presentation, it's casual. So this is an example. Lorena wrote this one, and she was speaking about, with her team, Colombia's Teachers' Day. So she writes, hi everyone, my name is Lorena, and I'm going to talk about the Colombian Teachers' Day. I'm going to talk about Colombia's Teachers' Day. This day was created as an important day to honor professors and teachers who are the mechanism of social development for all mankind. In Colombia, to this day, Teachers' Day is over 100 years old. This year, it will be celebrated on May the 15th, which is a Monday. She could have given a little bit more detail. What does she do? I think this one, is a little bit unfinished, because then she says she should say thank you for listening. But I feel maybe it's a little bit incomplete. She could have given more details. What do you do? Do you take something special for your teacher? Do you make a post for your teacher and thanking her? Do you give her a gift? So she could have really told me, like, how do we celebrate it? What do I do? I need to know, what do I need to do on this day? Not just this is Teachers' Day, but what do I do? I know it's for teachers and educators and professors, but what do I do? Do I give them a gift? I don't know. So a little bit more detail there. This is another one from Alan. He says, hi everyone, my name is Alan, and I'm going to talk about an electronic music festival in Brazil called Universo Paralelo. Do you know it? Yeah. So he says this festival, so remember, he's going to give the history. This festival goes for 7 days from December the 27th to January the 3rd. So maybe he didn't give the history. He told us what days now. People enjoy going because it is a multicultural event with people from all over the world. This festival takes place on an island near Bahia. So he told us exactly where the location is, what days, and then he says what happens. The most played music is electronic, but you can also hear other DJs playing hip hop, reggae, Brazilian music. You can see DJs from all over the world. And yes, it's he could maybe write why it's important to him. Because I love music so much, this is one of my favorite days of the year. Thank you for listening. Okay, so that's just a few examples. As I said, this one about Colombia's Teachers' Day was a little bit not finished, but you have the idea of what to do. So now what we can do is go into our groups and pick a day and present it. So you're going to come up and speak about it. I'll put a picture. So all you need to do is prepare the presentation. Now, I can check your English before that, so we can maybe make a Facebook post and you can upload it there. If not, just write it. Make sure you're not reading off a piece of paper. Very important. Do not be reading. Whenever you're presenting to people, you need to look them in the eye, and you need to make sure you're looking at everyone, not just one person. So you really need to make sure everybody's is feeling welcome, and you have the attention of people. So okay, let's get into our groups. If you don't remember your groups, I have them up here. And I have that website. But yes, okay, so let's get into your groups and we will come back and watch the presentations shortly. Okay, so the first presentation we are going to have is from Gustavo and Lewis and Jessica, who was online, and they're going to speak a presentation about Women's Day. So let's listen to the way that they introduce this important day in the world. Okay, so everyone, we're listening to the...
Hi, my name is Luis. So this is Gustavo and Jessica.
Jessica is talk about the Women's Day.
Okay. It's online. If you want to say, Jessica, it's online with us today.
She has the first one.
Hello.
Yes. It's us.
Women's Day has been celebrated on March 8, since 1910, but it was officially declared by the UN in 1975. And in your country, it is very popular to observe a rose for the women of your country.
This day is celebrated around the world to raise awareness about the importance of empowering women, protecting their rights, empowering women, protecting their rights and ensuring they can reach their full potential.
Likewise, it's important to have a balance between men and women in rights. Unfortunately, today many women still experience discrimination where they are not being treated equally to men. Thank you very much for listening.
We hope you two will celebrate the most important women in your lives.
Thank you. Okay, next group, Santiago. Which day was it again? The old year? This is a very interesting one. I like the idea. Maybe this is a good. Okay, Santiago and Sebastian. It's a interesting one because it's not I've never heard of this one. So it's called the Old Year. Okay, let's
María Sebastián, this is Santiago. It is we'd like to talk about the Olga Day in Colombia and Ecuador. This is a very emotional yet funny day. It is a day that means spending time with family and close friends. On this day, family and friends get together while having dinner to make paper, dolls, and board games at midnight. The puppets represents the year that is ending and everything that happening in that year. An interesting fact is that in Ecuador, the men dress up as woman to represent the puppets which are about to be born. Yeah. In conclusion, this day is an important day because families and friends spend time together. Welcome the new year. Yeah. Thank you for this. What's the Brazil now? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, in Ecuador, the his name is Viuda Negra. And the yeah. Pero esa no mitología.
I like it. Very interesting. Team Shirley. We'll go Shirley and Min. Shirley and Min had just remind me which day. Which one? Yes, Valentine's Day. I did add a little bit of a ... So I hope you could talk about more what happened in everybody around the world knows this stuff. And how will be talking about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a global holiday which celebrates love and action. Celebration is February 14th of every year. The history of Valentine's Day is really interesting. To affection, properly for friend and family. The feeling for one another. Thank you, everything for listening. The last group, Adriano, which Father's Day, I think. Yeah, this one is a beautiful day. So I think another one that's very well known, Father's Day, Adriano and Jonathan. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. We are Jonathan, Silvio, and Adriano. Today, we would like to talk about International Father's Day, which is celebrated on the first Sunday of June in many countries, including United States, Canada, and Colombia.
But
in Australia, we celebrate on in September. Best not national holiday at 172. What is as original largely a religion holiday. Festival Day is about giving a great value in today and family.
in my country, Brazil, the one the same day is Australian. Usually, the families will take the father to lunch and conclusion. And this day is a time to honor of father and their and their father and other many others who have made a significant impact in the lives of the children. Thank you so much for this time and for the listening. In Australia and the same in Brazil, the barbecue or
Barbecue lunch.
yeah, and gifts
In Colombia is fun.
party.
Come together at night
Yes.
and music.
Yeah, Brazil the same. Yeah. And our family, my mother or I don't know, and the and the lunch, in house of the lunch. Yeah, the same September and
Presentations. I think we did everyone. So really important. What did we do? We talked about being able to present something to someone. So remember, have a nice introduction, give a bit of history, introduce yourselves, give a bit of history to the topic, and then talk about what's happening now, and then talk about why it's important. So really good. That was really good topics. So we'll finish here with presentations until next lesson. And remember, we're looking at the future tense, the will. Next lesson, I think we will be doing some really quickly. Next lesson, we'll be doing announcing an event. So continuing to talk about when we need to tell people about an important day, how do we do it and make it? So that's what we'll do next lesson. So see you guys then.